Welcome everyone to another tournament showdown featuring my Vampire Coast facing off against the Lizardmen of ODM Chosen One. So for anyone who wants to see the tournament this took place in, which was Aerocrastic Salad Cup, there will be a link in the comment section below and you can see the full spectrum of games that were played. Now as far as the build goes, we're going to be going with the dreaded Gunnery White Queen Bess build. So basically what you do is you get the double Gunnery White, and these bad boys do have extra powder, so Bess, one of her main issues is that, you can run out of powder over the course of a long game, which really sucks considering how much you invest in Bess. And so basically the Gunnery Whites address that. They both have extra powder, but more importantly, that's not the main thing about them. The crabs are pretty powerful as far as melee combatants go. 38, 46, 350 with about 4,000 HP, give or take, a couple hundred. And they do also have really good armor-piercing melee attacks and good armor-piercing shots. So they're pretty good against, the dinos, right? You're able to snipe the lords. If they have Bastillodons or Carnosaurs, you can go fisticuffs. Yeah, they're not going to beat a Carnosaur in melee combat, but just the dual purpose of them being able to snipe things out with their 180 range, 434 missile damage, plus their melee attacks and the extra powder makes them a really solid addition to a lot of matchups. We do also have a Vampire Fleet Admiral pistol, so going with the full gooning pistol squad here. So he has shorter range. He only has 90 range, great missile damage, and does have access to Implication of Nehek, as well as Raised Dead. I personally think the pistol is a little bit more efficient than the Halberd variant. The Halberd variant is pretty good, but you still have good AP value on this crab. And yeah, the Halberd variant does give you an anti-large bonus and things like that, but you don't want to be fighting those dinos up close with these crabs. Basically, you shoot them with a pistol, and if you get close, you still have, good AP values and good general stats. So I really think the pistol variant is quite a bit better than the Halberd in this matchup. We got a couple Halberds in the front line, and in the back some Halberds as well, just all over the place having a good old time, but basically we just have a lot of elite stuff. We do have the Night Terrors, which are a very good backline defense tool. If your opponent comes in thinking they can get Queen Bess with a bunch of cav or just overloading your position there, you have the Night Terrors in the back to sweep things out, and you're able to get those guys pretty efficiently with them. We do also have the Lamprey's Revenge, some Depth Guard as well. Depth Guard are a staple, I think, against lizards. Maybe not in more than one or two, but just bringing one or two is probably one of the more efficient ways to deal with massive amounts of Saurus and infantry and things like that. This is a little bit different than my usual build. Usually I like to use a couple Depth Guard and then use a big gun line and things like that. But, I've been having good experience with this kind of a build against greenskins and factions that are basically just trying to swarm you with infantry. So I was like, yeah, let's give it a try against lizards and see how it goes. So that's my whole build. And for Chosen One, a very, very solid deployment. I have to say, masterful deployment from him here. He does have the skink skirmishers up here on the high ground. You can see two of those guys. In the forest here, he does also have chameleons. Chameleons are a great choice here because he can pressure my back line, and the things I have defending my back line are halberds and Mourngulls, both of which skinks are going to be able to easily deal with. So I love this. They have good missile resist, so if Vampire Coast wants to kind of counter shoot them with handgunners and things like that, it's not going to be terribly cost efficient. So far I love the build for my opponent. He does also have a big infantry force in the forest, red crested skinks and Saurus warriors with one group of Golden Riders just to give a little bit of punch and mobility to his army, some skink cohorts with javelins as well. And it looks like the Umbral Tide in the back, so the Umbral Tide's pretty good. They have anti-large, they have fire damage, actually quite good against Mourngulls. So they can sit and shoot at Mourngulls, and even things that are heavily armored, they still have a bonus versus large, and with a little bit of a grinding attrition, they can wear those guys down. So the Umbral Tide ready to go. Get out of my way, tree. And for his lord, he does also have Tehenowin. So Tehenowin here is basically just a Manticore summoner. I like to call it the lore of Manticore summoning. So basically he's going to be summoning those. He has good AP himself, and can go fisticuffs with my crabs. So let's get this show on the road, guys, and see if the Vampire Coast can survive the ambush. And also another reason why I picked Bess in this matchup here, and this was, of course, in our best of 3 series here, is because I was like, Queen Bess is going to be great. He has a choke point he has to walk through, but I really did not expect the glorious mass vanguard, sneaky tree deployment, just all sorts of treachery coming in. So you can see here, I get my Lamprey's Revenge immediately. I go into the forest, I'm like, where's the lizards? Where are they lurking? So I go back here and I'm just scouting, and I still didn't see him. He was far enough back that I didn't see them coming, so I didn't react accordingly. You can see I'm fanning out in pretty much every direction. I have no idea where he's going to be coming from. I do get some good firepower here from the Gunnery Whites, able to pop those Pterodon Riders right in the face, and there's no healing on this Lizard army, so any damage I can do is going to be quite good. So I saw 2 skink skirmishers come out here. I couldn't see the chameleons yet, they're still hidden, so I assumed he had a lot more back here. So I was like, oh, all hands on deck. So the Night Terrors and the Depth Guard are going to be surging back here aggressively, and the crabs are coming over here. I assumed he was over here with a lot of stuff, because that was his first gambit, right? So I attack here with the Night Terrors. We're going to be getting some nice little slaps here on these skink skirmishers. You can see these guys going to be having a pretty bad time. Losing a couple models, only 4 so far, but yeah, still we're able to get a decent amount of punch. But as far as value accrued, he's gotten more. I mean, he's been able to really hurt my Night Terrors, and yeah, even his little chameleons, just the weight of fire is actually doing a ton of damage against Lamprey's Revenge. I mean, that is really, really good. So solid play so far. And now the trap is sprung. So Queen Bess taking some initial shots over here into the forest at the skinks, which isn't terribly efficient. They're very fast, although do we make contact there? Okay, that was pretty good. We hit the chameleons right in the face, but Queen Bess is now I'm going to be switching about face. So seeing this huge rush, I send in the crabs, and the crabs you should always send in with like halberd support, but I got a little bit hasty here. I send those guys in, Tehenowin's going to be going in, Colden Riders are going in, so a bunch of things that on paper are a bit of a counter to the crabs are going to be going in for the kill. So the crabs I do respond with Invocation of the Heck, trying to get those fat heals up, but for the most part the lizards are getting good value across the front line. Also Sora Spears should make pretty quick work of my zombie project and mobs here down in the pits. See the zombos fighting to the best of their abilities, but oh, here comes a Bessie charge, perfect slow motion capture here, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit short. And Bessie still makes some okay contact, I think. Yeah, 69 model, 68, getting some okay work in. So at this point, we do have a bit of an opening, right? He found a seam to get to Queen Bess. So that's why I love the Gunnery Whites. Like, they're a great melee unit. I can send them in against these Horus Warriors and a bit of a goon squad here, and they're going to be able to beat those guys down. Also, if you want to shoot Queen Bess on top of your own single entities, you're not really going to be taking much damage. So with Bess, I'm basically switching targets every time because the units with higher model counts are going to yield more profit for Queen Bess. So we're shooting again, trying to do the best we can. You can see the Manticore summon has been brought in as well from Chosen One here. Going to be attacking my Queen Bess, and also his Pterodon Riders are coming in. So Pterodon Riders going to be maybe dropping some rocks here. Nice rock drop right there. Gets some decent damage on the crew. If it had been facing kind of the other way, it probably would have almost wiped them out. But basically, we're using our Black Spot and our handgunners to try and keep these guys away from the main army. So balance of power is a little bit in the favor of the Lizards, but again, that's partially because of the false inflation from the Feral Manticore. The battle's actually reasonably close. Our crabs were able to get away here. We still have 7 of 9 models, so that's nice. And they're not near their healing cap, so with their natural healing plus the invocations, I might be able to get them up. A beautiful play here, bringing in the Lamprey's Revenge. Lamprey's Revenge able to get some beautiful shots here against my crabs. And down here, we are able to fend off the Manticore, but just realize I also used my 3 single entities, my Gunnery Whites, plus my Crab Captain here to just take out the Feral Manticore. And that was just a summon unit, so he's able to do things across the map, whereas I'm investing my actual resources into kind of taking that guy out there. So very, very solid stuff. So Queen Bessie's still going, though. She's going strong, up to 100 kills, certainly not bad. She's going to be getting a nice blast there on those skinks, perhaps wavering and breaking them, which would be very good. And so far, the MVPs for me have been my depth card. Even though they're only up to 42 kills, they've been able to buzzsaw through Saurus, and they're barely taking any damage. They've just been anchoring this front line, which has been taking a ton of pressure across the board. So here comes a little bit more skink pressure on Queen Bess. I have some halberds. I have the Black Spot here providing a little bit of supporting fire. But for the most part, the crabs are going to be responsible for making their last stand here, holding these guys back. And it kind of makes me think, like, I guess the problem is you can only have like 3 heroes. I was going to say, like, bringing Aranessa plus double Gunnery White could be pretty strong with the snare net that she does have to like snare things down and focus fire. But yeah, the issue being, and she would also give them bonus for large with the Kraken's Bane, but then I wouldn't be able to have a caster as the main problem. I was just like, oh, that could actually be a good idea. So balance of power does normalize a little bit back towards the middle. We're able to summon some gunnery mobs back here with the lure of vampires and get some nice shots, forcing off the skink skirmishers, pushing these little rat bastards back. But nonetheless, they're still poking in. Black Spot's been holding well, though. They're up to 34 kills. Flock of Doom going to be going down from Tehenowin as well, which is going to do some okay damage. But the second Manticore summon has been used, so both Manticores have been popped. There's not going to be any more Manticore summons coming in here, but this Manticore, if it attacks correctly, should go after Queen Bess. So what I should have done in this situation is detach the crew from Queen Bess and like run away a little bit, because then the Manticore would actually chase the crew instead of attacking Bess. So I do lose Bess because of that. Granted, I think I would have lost it anyway. Like, even if the crew tried to run, the Manticore would be able to kill and crumble the crew very quickly, so I think it was a bit of a moot point. But nonetheless, Bessie's down, and you can see with Bessie going down, the bounce power does go in the favor of my opponent here, and you can see my Gunnery White's going to be doing their best to hold with the Depth Guard. Depth Guard up to 95 kills here. Mind you, all those kills with the Depth Guard, or at least a substantial portion of them, have been against Saurus, and they're a very nice natural counter. Their armor mitigates the high weapon damage of the Saurus and the low AP on the Saurus, and their healing on top of that also helps them kind of counterbalance it in sustained combat. So they're a very, very good counter against Saurus Warriors, but again, Depth Guard can be focused on fairly easily by things like Salamanders. Big single entity monsters can usually run them over, like Stegodons and whatnot, so you have to be somewhat careful. So now we're going to be falling back, making a bit of a Helm's Deep. I was kind of looking at the battlefield overall. I was like, okay, my opponent has a lot of ranged stuff left. He has Chameleon Skinks, he has some over here, he has some over here, he has Pterodon Riders. I kind of just need to endure and run him out of ammo, and maybe if my Depth Guard and my Crabs can survive, I would be able to kind of tank and just Helm's Deep it and potentially have a good situation to get back in the game, despite the fact that Bessie's gone. I have a couple halberds left over here. Halberds are cleaning up some skinks, should be able to win that fight, despite the fact they are halberds fighting against infantry, but it's just that grindy fight, plus they do also cause fear. And yeah, I'm able to kind of break off the middle once again. Some Saurus are still fighting here, but alas, there still are some Cold Wind Riders. So I'm not sure where they went, because they weren't chasing anything off. These guys were engaged early on, but I think they just got broken early. Like, they took a lot of damage, they ran away, but now they're back with a vengeance, and that's going to be another variable I have to deal with. And Cold Wind Riders, you know, even though they're kind of a generalist cab unit, still have good AP values and could potentially do some great work against my crabs. So clearly my opponent is going to be focus firing down my Vampire Fleet Admiral, so Crabs aren't the quickest. I mean, their speed, let's take a look at their natural speed. They are poisoned right now. Most of these guys are poisoned, so 45 is their speed. So yeah, I can't really outmaneuver the skinks as well as the salamanders, so I just kind of have to do whatever jukes I can. I'm trying to get behind Queen Bess, so you can see the crabs like, Anakin, hide me. But it looks like Queen Bess's torso is actually not going to block, so I learned that the hard way. I was like, oh, maybe I can hide behind Queen Bess and, get some screening here, but no. Bess it doesn't actually act as like a terrain piece, and Bess is going to be letting those shots pass through here. So skinks are still shooting in. He's got a lot of ammunition here on these chameleons, unfortunately. This is like the one group that has a lot of ammo, and just the way to fire 342. I need to get into melee combat also because she has the hunger, so if she fights in melee, she will be able to heal. So I'm just trying to get in there and heal however I can. Gunnery Whites in the meantime, going to be taking some pot shots. I do have halberds coming back in, and Bounce of Power is in his favor, but it's not the point of no return. It's certainly a game that could still go either way at this point. You can see the Depth Guard here going to be chasing these little red crested skinks up the hill. Gunnery White's chasing as well, just trying to get melee combat, and down goes the Admiral. So the crab is going to be falling. A little bit of a sad moment there as the crab just like, I'm too weak, help me, and goes down. So Depth Guard here crumbling, -8 leadership, 727, and now we're going to be surging down the hill towards these infantry units, and it looks like they're going to be taking the fight. So the lizards are going to be coming in for a last stand. Depth Guard definitely very happy to get melee combat because they too have the hunger. So when they're in melee, they'll heal, and they're crumbling now, so any healing is very, very welcome. You can see they're healing up a little bit, taking some damage as well, but at least they're getting something on the way out, right? And 167 kills, which really makes me think I probably should have brought another group. But yeah, as far as like the best build goes, I think it's still potentially okay against lizards, but yeah, I don't know. I think the other builds I've used in the past are probably a little bit more efficient here. So you can see the double Gunnery White's going to be holding, but at this point it's just the two Gunnery Whites versus the world. So we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding as I try and go after the salamanders, but we're going to get collapsed on by basically everything. Lizard Moses coming in with his tablet to deliver the steel chair beatdown here. You can see he's ready to go, and the Gunnery Whites just aren't going to be able to endure it. Hedwin's a pretty powerful combatant in melee, actually. You know, he's a jacked, steroided skink, and in melee combat, he could probably defeat either of these Gunnery Whites one-on-one, so that's going to be all she wrote, pretty much, as the Lizards get the full surround, and that is going to be the second game in our best of 3. So guys, it is going to be going to a rubber match, so stay tuned for that replay. I'm going to be trying to cast these like all back to back, so you guys will be seeing them in a relatively accurate order here. So you guys saw the Vampire Count versus Dark Elf game. This was the Vampire Coast versus Lizardmen game, and now guys, you're going to be getting to see a rubber match. And of course, if you guys want spoilers about the tournament and everything, you can go look in the comment section below. But if you want to wait and see who wins the last of this best of 3, stay tuned, and we'll be showing you guys. So yeah, as far as the build goes, it was okay. Like, it was a close game. There was a couple things, like the Night Terrors, what happened with them is they chased the skinks and they got rampaged off, and then they just got kited and killed into oblivion. So had I been able to keep the Night Terrors, like, away from his skinks, he did a really good job with that, though. Like, had I kept them and not over-chased and let them get rampaged, I might have had enough to kind of endure that game and maybe pull something out at the end, but nonetheless, I like the build. I don't know how much of a fan I am against lizards. Against... Oh man, just heard some dogs scurrying through my kitchen. All right, guys, and now I'm back. Sorry about that. We just had a pack of wild feral beasts run through my kitchen, including Wookie, Gooby, my other dog, and my brother's dog, just having a good old party. So yeah, as far as the build goes, I like certain elements of it. I think against a mass Saurus build, it could be okay, but, you know, I have to account for skinks and more dynamic play, right? Like Pterodon Riders and range pressure and things like that. So in retrospect, I would probably go back to a more traditional gunline build. I'll actually show you guys right now. But again, very well played to Chosen One. Hopefully you guys are ready for game 3 coming up soon. It'll probably be tomorrow or maybe in the same day. Who knows if we're feeling a little bit spicy. And now let's go ahead and take a look at a build here. So we're going to go here, and then we are going to go to a custom battle. So in the custom battle for Vampire Coast, this build used to be quite good back in the day pre-Noctilus nerf, but nonetheless, I still think the Hard Knock Life would be really good here. So basically you get the Hard Knock Life, you get the summons plus the Wrath's Moondial. The extra summons are very, very useful here. So for the front line, get a couple of regular zombos, and from here we're going to get the Black Spot and probably 2 of the gunnery mobs. I feel like it's pretty good against like the flying stuff, against like the skirmishers and all that, and yeah. So I also like to mix in a couple Cyrene, and so Depth Guard here, and then get a couple Syrenes. They don't have too much magic damage aside from the Sacred Croc Scores, or the Croc Score, whatever those guys are called, the Power Fist ones, the one with the Space Marine Power Fist. Get a couple Syrenes as well. And the Air Force game, you can actually contest it if you want to, which isn't necessarily a bad idea. So you can get like a Goose, for example, and then you can get a couple Fellbats, and then from here you can get like some of the cheapo deck droppers if you want to. The handgunners aren't bad, but I think the cheapo ones can do the trick, and looking pretty durable for sure. We do need a couple halberds, so probably cut you, and then where else can I save some money? Yeah, like this Air Force, like Fellbats should be able to shut down Pterodon Riders, especially with the Goose. Goose gives you extra punch against infantry because the undead... what's it called? No, it's not undead, but the Vampire Coast Goose is more of a generalist goose. It doesn't have a bonus for large, but its stats are just like a little bit better across the board. So something like this could work. You could even cut that second one since you already have like a fair amount of firepower here and like throw in like a cannon or something if you want. But honestly, I would probably just get like another halberd or something. So anyways, again, well played to my opponent. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the game plus the post-game breakdown, and we'll see you guys soon with another tournament cast. Cheers.